So hello, today we are at the Temple at War from Temple in Essex, and we're going to look at a reenactment event. It should be a real treat. We've got a really hot day, one of the hottest days of the spring so far, 24 degrees. So I hope you enjoy it. So here we are with some French and English reenactors representing the First World War.
Perfect.
But the most important thing I have here is in fact my guide Michelin. If you're anywhere near the front, you want to know where you can get good food. So here you have your guide Michelin. This is a very, very important piece of equipment.
Typical Frenchman.
Absolutely. Michelin is the tyre company. The tyre company created this guide, and it was all about, you know, if you're travelling around, being a travelling person in any kind of, you know, car or lorry or anything like that was a new thing in 1900, and they decided what they thought would be really, really useful is if you, as someone who was travelling from place to place to place, could find out where the places were you could stay or where the places were that you could eat, that would be really, really useful. And it went from there to being recommendations for restaurants, and that's where you got the Michelin star guide. But these here, if you have a look inside, this is the town of Reims in the Champagne region, and you've got a little map. This is where the station is, and you've got all the different places where you could stay, where you could eat, which is, you know, really, really useful information. And this was released, I believe, in 2000 on the 100th anniversary of the original 1900. So that's a little reproduction of that was done by the original publishers.
Unbelievable.
Brilliant. Infantry officer's sword. It's short, it's really a stabbing blade only, but you can see the groove here, the fuller, to lighten the blade. So you've got the cutting edge there, and then the fuller's further away from it. And to make it lighter and thinner, but also stiffer, you can see that this fuller here on the other side is closer to the cutting edge, so it has a sort of S-shaped profile. And that in itself, for people that like this, would be relatively interesting. But the thing that I think is really remarkable about this is it's designed in 1882. It's the sword that's carried by infantry officers. They have to purchase their own. And it's been designed. A lot of thought has gone into the design of this sword, because even in 1914, they still expect that they're going to be using them.
Okay. They've not moved on.
Well, so the same goes for the British.
Yep.
The British carry the 1897 patent sword.
Yeah.
That's still this is still issued to some units for ceremonial use today, because this is the last iteration of sword design. Swords aren't needed after this, but you're given these swords, or rather you purchase these swords, you carry them because, according to the doctrine of 1914, you expect that you're going to be going into close combat where you're going to be at arm's length away from the enemy, which doesn't really bear thinking about.
No.
There are two French terms which we still use. If I can actually keep this for a second, there's two French terms we still use today. They're very archaic, which you'll recognise almost in daily use, referring to parts of the blade. Up here, the thick part of the blade is the forte. The thin part of the blade is called the foible. So we still say, oh, that's your forte, your strength, or your foible is your weakness. So we still use forte and
it's French word fort and faible, so the strong and the weak of the blade.
Yeah.
According to by French definition, this is a sabre because of the guard. But in Britain, we don't work like that. In Britain, it's a sabre that has a curved blade. So it's very confusing. This is actually the 1882 pattern infantry officer's sabre, but it has a straight blade. You know, people do things differently in different countries. So.
And these guys, these gentlemen, are you're an interpreter.
I'm an interpreter,
for them.
yeah. They're the machine gun corps.
Yeah. Oh, you're the machine gun corps, hence the machine gun, yeah.
Yeah, we're the machine gun corps, and we're a group called Britannia, and we do lots of different time periods, and we do a lot of film work and TV work as well. We were in Gladiator, and we worked for 7 years on Horrible Histories.
Where were you in the Gladiator?
on the floor mostly.
Yeah. Farnham in Surrey, Bournemouth, Farnham in Surrey, and it was the bit we filmed was 2.5 weeks, and it was freezing cold, and it was 2.5 weeks. The food was good, so we weren't complaining. They looked after us all right. It was a good crack.
Are we talking the very start of Gladiator when they're up in Jamaica, isn't it? I think
When they transferred to the hot location, the hot dry location, they didn't invite us. we were just in the sort of grimy.
Yeah, you've done your bit.
The thing is, with Bourne Woods, that was right where I grew up as a kid, and I used to walk there a lot. And I can tell you, there were no Germanic tribesmen there when I went walking.
Really?
Yeah, so that means they could be anywhere.
Well, they got that wrong. They should have researched.
No, they killed them all.
That was pre-Gladiator.
We're Britannia, and we do a lot of different types, but we do machine gun corps because it's kind of like a niche. There are a few people that do it, but we kind of want to do it because there's a lot of interest in it, and we're interested in the specs of the guns, the engineering of the guns, and we have quite an educational leaning as well. We kind of like to show that a lot of families. We've got a lot of information sheets we give away that are aimed at the school kids. And we were interested in the engineering specs of these guns, but we're also anything that's got a story we love. For instance, this little gem here, this actually is indirectly responsible for the deaths of 21 million people. This is the FN 1910 Browning.
Is that the one that shot Ferdinand, Duke Ferdinand?
That's the one. This is not the very one. That's in the museum.
Sarajevo, wasn't it?
Yeah. This isn't the very pistol because that's in the museum, but this is more or less identical to the pistol that would have been used to assassinate Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Very, very tiny 9mm, and obviously the rounds go up inside the handle there, and Gavrilo Princip on the day was practicing for months ahead within the park with this, and opinions differ as to if he was any good, but it didn't matter because he leant into the car apparently and shot the Archduke in the neck with it, and quite horrific. The injuries, obviously, the Archduke died more or less straight away, and the crowd apparently grabbed Gavrilo Princip's arm, the assassin's arm, and in the panic, his arm was pulled down and he shot the Archduke's wife Sophie in the abdomen, and she died as well. When he was arrested, he said he could only remember shooting one person, the Archduke. So we like showing this around because it's incredibly kind of tiny, but it's a perfect assassin's pistol.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just extraordinary. And when you consider this led to, please do, when it's led to the deaths of 21 million people, it's just such a small. It almost, as somebody said this morning, it looks like a spud gun, and it pretty much does. So we like anything that tells a story, anything that's got an educational value. And for us, I mean, we don't pull any punches. We don't think the guns are romantic at all. However, the engineering behind them is just incredible. And when you see how much tech advanced in just a few years, but every time there's a major war, we have huge leaps in tech. Basically, we don't go back. When you think the 20th century, you have at the start of the 20th century, you've got people flying around in hot air balloons and planes that look like kites. You get to almost 70 years later and people are standing on the moon. So it's just an incredible leap in how we kind of do things in just a 70-year gap, and that's because of the two world wars. I suppose you might say the one positive thing that came out of them is the fact that we had these huge advances. Not always good advances, but the comfortable lives we have today are a result of a lot of the advances we made then.
Thanks for your time anyway.
Thank you.
Very interesting talking to you. Thank you. So here we are with a British soldier who was part of the Zulu Wars conflict, and he's going to tell us a little bit about all the interesting paraphernalia and objects he's got behind us.
So on this particular table, it's just portraying that I would have had my family with me. Because I'm a ranking officer, I could carry some luxuries like a bed, some furs. My wife would be with myself along with children. So my wife would have had to wear something pretty much along the same lines as this. So she would have had to wear a red tunic with a black skirt.
Oh.
So it wouldn't have like the green cuffs, which denotes that I'll be the Howard's Green or the 24 foot. It'd be plain red, and just denotes that they're going to be coming with us. So what I've got on the table is just going to be like just some standard little stuff, like even the cooking range. This is an original 1860. This particular one was a Romany gypsy.
Oh, okay.
So this actually was taken out of a Victorian caravan.
So that's had some interesting stories told around it.
This has
Can
probably
you
been
imagine that?
places. If this could talk, I'll be listening all day. It still works. It works under paraffin. And the way it works is you light the two wicks. Behind here are basically two chimneys. So what the actual the smoke or the fumes do, heats up the rings inside, so you can cook on the range. And then inside the oven, where the heat's coming up, it heats everything inside it. So you could probably put whatever you wanted on it. Like I've got some fake meat inside the serving tray, so it looks like it's at least doing something. Even going through to the silver teapot. So I want to literally put that on there, let it boil, put it straight onto that, and that's all you do. Little simple things. And it even comes down to the old Victorian opium pipe as well.
Can you bring that a bit closer, please?
There you go.
So is this standard for an officer?
If they didn't know, it didn't hurt them, really. But I was given this by a family, not my family member, it was given a generation. They actually did say this was he actually took this abroad with him. But obviously we don't know if the army knew about it, but everyone knew that
it went on.
It went on.
But
okay. As long as it didn't cause much problems, I'm pretty sure they would have overlooked it.
So what's this for? Is this like a cleaning pipe?
Yeah, this is all cleaning, so like a little brush, we brush all.
Wow.
And even like poke down the
and the opium would come from what, China or somewhere?
It would come from China, or even just like the poppies.
Okay.
If you really wanted to go into more detail, you can't be anywhere. This is called the poker gun. So what you'd do is at night we'll be playing poker. This wasn't meant to kill. These bullets were so small, it was only made to injure. So if we caught you cheating, obviously there'll be a big row. You pull that out from underneath the table, pull down the trigger, straight.
Oh, have a look at that.
Of course.
It's quite a good size, isn't it? And again, that is authentic. Look at that.
Because of the old heat, I can't actually remember the real name of her, but this is based on a French design pocket pistol. But what they used to do, instead of keeping it in your pockets, they used to keep it with the poker tables. And obviously, the last but not least, you wouldn't be anywhere without your punch magazines. And for the ladies, the young ladies' journal. Goes through, you can have like some music. Oh, let's grab one up here. So, all of them always came with some music, so you could either be, when you're at home, you could try and play this, or even sing it as well.
So this is for the ladies. So this is what they'd be interested in, the young ladies' journal. And a remarkable condition. Wow. Well, thank you very much for your time.
No, you're more than welcome, sir.
I'll probably see you next year.
Of course.
See ya. So here we are with a military chaplain or padre. Sunny disposition. So would you like us to call you padre or chaplain?
Either or either, I don't care what you call me.
Okay. And you're talking about the crucifix. This would be going with you wherever you...
Yeah, normally you'd use a larger cross if you were done Sunday service, if you were in a fixed base. A lot of chaplains would have a small suitcase and you'd have cloth stole, candles, chalice, that's an original World War I chalice, and you'd have a small cross because it's more portable than that. Most of the crosses, you'd think they'd be big, flashy, religious cross. They wouldn't. They'd be just a simple wooden cross. Because if you lose it, it's not the end of the world. You can remake it simply out of wood. It's got the arrow for War Department, so that is an original chalice.
So this would have been used in the theatre of war.
Yes.
In communion, and I'd guess that would have been it, the services. Yes. So it's incredible history what this has seen. Do you know where it was served, or?
Haven't got a clue.
No.
When we got it, it was the dirtiest, rustiest thing you've ever seen.
Okay.
My wife cleaned it. Let's be fair.
Blame the wife. They've done a good job actually.
And then we found the War Department mark underneath. We had no idea that's what it was.
So can I ask you what made you interested in being a Padre as such? It's quite unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, well, my wife wanted to do voluntary detachment nurse, and I wanted to do something. I didn't want to do infantry because the world and his wife does infantry. So I thought I want to do something a little bit different, and I was looking through. There was vets, dentists, all things like that, and then I came across a photograph of a chaplain who looked exactly like me.
Oh really?
He was bald,
Really?
goatee beard, little glasses.
Can we see the glasses on? Yes.
And I sort of laughed, oh look, I could be a chaplain. And then I started to read about the chaplains, and they just fascinated me. I'm not hugely religious, but
Incredibly brave.
yeah, they would go over the top with the men. Probably not in the first wave, but they go over in the second wave, and they would be, they'd tend to the wounded and dying, because there are no atheists in a foxhole. So I'd stay with the men. I'd go out with stretcher parties, bring the casualties back, and the dead, and I'm dressed as an officer. You know, when I've got the tunic on, and my Sam Brown belt and my hat, I look exactly the same as an officer apart from the dog collar. But at 200-300 yards, you're not particularly going to see the collar, so you know, I'm liable to get shot and shelled. If I was captured, high possibility I'd be traded, because it was a goodwill gesture.
Can I ask you a question about if you was to deal with, would you deal with the military, the enemy, the Germans?
Yeah.
So you give them the last rites?
Yeah, I'd look after them. I'd bury them as well. If, say for example, there was a trench raid and we killed some Germans in our trench, I'd bury them, give them all due respect and rights as I would our men.
And the prisoners of war, I guess?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd look after them. And German casualties that were in the hospitals, I'd go and visit them. I'd help them be able to write home, so they can tell their families where they are.
So you would be a Protestant, not a Catholic priest?
All sorts.
Oh, all
I'm
sorts.
Protestant.
Okay.
But there were Jesuit Catholics, Roman Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, you name it, they were there. And what religion I was, I would give your religion all due respect and deference. And even though I'm technically a captain, I'm called a CF4, Chaplain Forces 4, that's the lowest rank, and I'm a captain. But I talk to you in equivalent rank. So if you're a private, I talk to you as though I'm a private.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to a brigadier, I'll talk to him as if
Okay.
I'm a brigadier.
Yeah, I understand.
So I'm the same as the man I'm talking to.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Most interesting.
Thank you very much.
Can I say you've been here 2 days? You've been up here 2 days?
Yes.
Enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I've been up here for a day and a half. Everyone else has been here for 2 days.
Day and a half, you came after the public left. You haven't been up here for like today.
No, day and a half yesterday. Yeah.
What time did you arrive yesterday?
That's a lot. Day and a half.
Are you actually recon?
Sorry?
Are you recon?
Yes.
So what are you looking out for?
What we're looking for, potential targets and targets of opportunity and interesting things essentially. But mostly enemy targets that present a good opportunity, resources, any good reconnaissance, intelligence, that sort of thing.
So it's quite common for the US military to have a sort
Yeah,
of
so-
small unit like yourselves
Yeah,
hiding somewhere.
Yeah, so essentially every single infantry unit would have a reconnaissance element. So every single regiment and division would have a recon element they would send out, do reconnaissance for their infantry and armoured troops, and they would send them forth, come back, send intelligence forward across the lines, and then they could plan missions. That's essentially how it worked.
We're not necessarily reconnaissance. We'd have reconnaissance attached
Yeah.
from our
We have a
unit.
reconnaissance element within us, but this
Okay.
is HQ setup.
This is an intelligence centre.
Okay.
So this is where we receive information and then we work out what it is. We're not really doing a great deal of intelligence. A lot of us would be infantry soldiers, which is not our bread and butter.
Okay.
We would have basic knowledge. We could work out its X unit, X weapon system, so on and so forth. But usually would be feeding it up.
Okay.
So your intelligence with everything else always goes up.
So you're just gathering information, basically.
We're the processing element.
Yeah.
Okay. The reconnaissance are your nerve system. They're the ones going out and making contact with the enemy. Not just reconnaissance, but also prisoners brought back by regular infantry units. Anything else, come back to us, and we are the first one, the nervous system, the first relay. We're then going to send it upwards, and if you think that the general headquarters is your brain, we're the first node. It goes up, and it travels up, and then goes to the top, and is distributed
So
downwards.
you're basically like sifting through the information to see what's relevant.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a look at some of our stuff,
So, for instance, we would get aerial reconnaissance photographs in, and we would get items of POWs. We can look at enemy strengths and the units that were attached, and we could work out what kind of force would be attacking us, or mixed elements that they would be pushing together in large
Just by
assaults.
the insignia on the unit.
By the insignias, badges.
this here is a Kriegsmarine badge. It is the badge of the sailors of the German Navy. Now we found this on a prisoner who was captured as an infantryman. What this tells us is the army is short on manpower, so they're having to pull their sailors off their ships onto the front line. If that's also the case, it also means they're probably low on fuel for their ships, or they have no ships. So, from our standpoint, from a tactical standpoint, we can expect that our opponents are going to be undertrained, underexperienced, and probably have low morale. Okay? From a more operational and strategic level, this information being fed up is going to tell the higher levels, well, their navy power has been depleted, they don't have a great deal of warships, they don't have a great deal of manpower. If you come over here quickly, sorry.
Yeah.
This is a Kar 98. This is the standard service rifle of the German army in the Second World War. Okay? Most of the soldiers we capture, we expect them to have something like this. One of our soldiers that we captured had this. This is a MAS 36. It is a French service rifle. It is the primary service rifle of the French army, as I said. In the 1940s campaign, Germans captured thousands of them, and they put them into storage. They gave them to rear-line troops throughout the war, but at the end of the war, these came out of storage in bulk and were given to newly formed units. So because we've captured this from a soldier, this is telling us many things. Firstly, the Germans are running out of basic supplies. They're now reliant on captured weapons to supply their troops. Secondly, chances are it's a newly formed unit, which means again it's not going to have much combat experience. It's not a veteran unit, they're forming new units. This was one which came with a Kriegsmarine badge. Again, this is an old sailor, he'd been pulled off a ship, told you need to go to the front lines, here's a rifle, and from now we can guesstimate, in the modern terminology, that our enemy is weak, they're undernourished, undermorale, they don't have a great deal of equipment, and they've not got a large amount of battle experience. And from then we can then draw a picture of what we're looking at with the enemy.
Thank you very much.
That's alright.
Right, so these are some of the sidearms that we captured from our prisoners. So I'll go through this one first. This is the P-38, typical sidearm of the German army. We captured this off of one of our Luftwaffe counterparts, it was a paratrooper. So simple 8-round pistol, mass produced. Originally they brought in Luger, which is a World War I weapon. Then they went into World War II production, they saw into war service. Originally produced by the Americans for World War I, which is interesting. You do even see some World War I by the Americans, which is quite interesting. But these were built as a counterpart in 1938, hence why it's called a P-38. So they're very simple stamped steel construction. So I will take it apart and show you the internal workings.
How many rounds would something like this hold?
This would take 8 rounds.
I chose my wife. She was here yesterday.
So it's a very simple stamp steel construction. That's the internal workings and the spring mechanism and spring guides. Very simple. As the typical Germans, they would match. They would make a matching number for every one of them. So every single part, it has a corresponding counterpart that goes into it. Yes.
I've just come across this gentleman who's wearing a most interesting period costume. We're going to talk about what sort of period he's covering. So can you tell me what sort of era?
Right, this is World War II, 1939, the 19th Polish Lancers. This is a dress uniform. You would not go to war in it. I've got spurs on my boots because I should have a horse, but I can't afford the vet's bills, so we haven't got a horse. I would carry a lance, which would be somewhere around about 14 foot long, so I've been told.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and these would be, because it's a dress uniform, if it was warm, they was the black powder charges for the muzzle loading rifle that you would have carried on your horse. You also had a pistol on the side, so you had pistol ammunition in these, plus whatever else you wanted to carry. And the V on the cap is for a sergeant, and it's on the neck as well. It's quite a comfortable uniform.
So being a sergeant, how many men would you have had under your jurisdiction? Do you know?
Someone's told me it would probably be about 15.
15?
15.
Okay.
That's your section.
Yeah, it's your section.
Yeah.
So what sort of combat did they see and where was it? Do you know?
All I know is that it's a bit of a myth that the German armoured column had stopped to rearm, refuel with tanks. And they were accompanied by a couple of newspaper reporters who were Italian, and the Poles needed to get back to wherever it was they wanted to get. They couldn't go round them, so they decided to go through them. And the Italian newspapers reported that Polish Lancers were attacking armoured vehicles, which opened up with guns, decimated the Lancers pretty much, but some did get through. But they weren't really attacking because they wanted to. They needed to get back to wherever it was they were trying to go. And that's about as much as I know.
So incredibly brave.
Oh.
Incredibly brave.
Yeah.
To go up against armoured mechanical vehicles with lances, horses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you how long you've been doing this for?
25 years. I also do RAF Bomber Command as a squadron leader. I've got the full kit, it's all wartime stuff. I do Chindit because my father was Special Forces in World War II.
So it's in your blood? Because you were in the military, weren't you?
Yeah, 5 months behind Japanese lines, Dad was. He survived the war, he flew in a glider once and survived the landing.
What, in Normandy?
No, in Burma.
Oh, in Burma?
Yeah, behind the Jap lines. They flew into a landing strip called Broadway. And that night, 62 gliders took off and 38 made it. And he was in one of those that made it.
50%? 50% more or less?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Nice. You're incredibly lucky to be here.
And each aircraft that was towing the gliders was towing one on port and one on starboard wing.
Wow.
One tow rope was 375 feet and the other one was 425 feet.
Oh, right, so staggered.
And either the tug could release whichever glider or both, and the gliders could release from the aircraft.
Wow. What a brave pilot to be towing that sort of weight.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. That was the Wacko glider, not the Horser.
Okay. So what are your plans today? You're going to carry on?
We're going to mooch round for another half hour or so, and then it'll be finished at 4 today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time coming to these events.
Thanks for the interest.
Thank you.
Hopefully someone might listen to that lot and learn
Yeah.
it, you know?
No, they will. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dziękuję bardzo.
And same to you.
Yeah.
That was Polish, by the way, and that was, what was that?
That's Polish, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So here we are with some infantry from the Second World War in the Italian campaign. They're going to explain a little bit about, you know, what they've got here, their equipment, etc. Yes, if you could tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, so my name's Josh. I've been reenacting for 15 years at this point, and we're portraying. So I'm portraying a British officer from the Buffs, Royal East Kent Regiment, and during the Italian campaign in the Second World War. So we've got a slightly different mix of uniforms, and it's sort of going on at the same sort of time as D-Day. So the known nickname for the Italian campaign are the D-Day Dodgers.
Oh, okay.
Nearly everything is original and war dated, as much as we can.
So you're representing a fella from the infantry.
Yes.
And this lovely lady's a nurse, obviously.
I'm a VAD, so voluntary aid detachment nurse.
Okay.
So we would have been actual nurses as a profession before the war started. And then during the war, we've sort of stepped forward and gone, well, I want to help out, I want to do my part. And we would have gone to the front line.
Utilise your skills, didn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they were everywhere. They were sort of gone wherever they needed, and quite often they'd be in regimental aid posts with the units they were with, and they would have actually been the people that had the most actual medical experience.
Of course.
There. So while they weren't the highest ranking, they could often give the most commands and have the most knowledge to be able to help as many people as they could.
And what got you into this role?
It's a mixture. My other half there got me into reenacting as a whole. Role specifically was because I think it's really important to show that human side and the human aspect of the war. You go along to shows and you see the guns and you see the vehicles, you see people's eyes
Which
light
I've
up.
covered, I must admit. But it's interesting to talk to other
and I think seeing that human aspect, and this is the reality of the war, and there had to be nurses there.
Yes.
There had to be all these medical items that did have to be used, I think is really important and eye-opening.
Okay, thank you.
More authentic.
A nice stronger tea.
When in doubt, brew up. You never miss an opportunity to get a cup of tea in as a British soldier.
So this would be a sort of typical table, wouldn't it? Laid out.
So
You've got your tea on the brew.
You've got your tea is a must-have, especially being British. You've got ashtrays, cigarette dispenser.
Yeah.
So everyone spoke to the 1940s. So with this, all you do, you lift it up, and when it lines up, pops a cigarette out. Yep. Ashtrays. We've got some binoculars, a nice little decanter with some port in it.
So you got some port, perhaps for later. But these mugs, are they the sort of size they would have had? I mean, look at the size of that.
Yeah, so they vary in size quite a lot. So these are the earlier war models, and they've become a bit more standardised later in the war, and they're a brown enamel, which means because the soldiers had a habit of hanging them off the back of their pack, and when you've got a big white thing right on the back of the pack when you're trying to blend in, it gives you somewhere to aim for. So yeah, the British did change them over.
Cadbury's chocolate. Okay. Maybe with your tea.
Well, it's part of the ration pack. So
is it
we were
really?
issued chocolate. So incredibly hard to get as a civilian, but chocolate did come in the British rations because they were designed to sort of keep you going for 24 hours. So when you pump full of lots of sugar, it helps you.
They still are part of the ration pack. There's still a fair amount of sugary,
there's still a lot
chocolatey
of
things.
Sugar and sweets in a modern ration pack,
Yep.
and there still were in the Second World War. You had boiled sweets. I've got one tucked away somewhere. But there's boiled sweets, oatmeal, tea, sugar, a stop drink, and they are all still in the modern British Army ration. They're
Bovril,
still in a modern British Army ration pack now. Only the meals have gotten a bit better.
I'm not sure. Well, thanks for your time.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you. So we're now going to talk with the captain of this unit, and he's got a very interesting story to tell us.
So
Yeah, go for it.
my grandfather was born November 1919 and recruited into the British Army in 1940, part of the enlistment. He was originally from Chelmsford, and he went
So
to
an Essex lad?
An Essex lad, and he had to go to a recruiting centre at a grammar school in Southend to sign all of his papers. After some initial training, he was sent to North Africa initially to Cairo as a second lieutenant, so he would have been in charge of a platoon.
Yeah, so he's an officer basically.
Yeah, would have been an officer. So he's probably, when you get to 1942, he's thrown out into into battle. He's in charge of Bren gun carriers, of a whole platoon of Bren gun carriers, and I think it's March of 1943. He is sent out on a patrol to see if there's any minefields or any entrenchments in the desert. Goes out, comes under fire, artillery and machine gun fire.
But very popular then.
Yeah, very popular. Yeah,
Wow.
he drew some attention, but he carried on with his task. He marked all the minefields, both on the map and in the battlefield, and marked where all the entrenchments were and where the enemy were. Came back and reported. About a week later, they received a report that a captain from the Northumberland Regiment, I think it was, had been captured by the Germans. They couldn't look after him, so they left him at an oasis, wounded. So they then leave him there with enough supplies, and of course with the oasis there he's got shade and a bit of water. So a patrol comes across him, not where my granddad is, but a separate patrol comes across him. They find him, but they can't take him because they're on foot, and then so they mark the position, leave him some more supplies, go back to headquarters. My grandfather hears about this and volunteers. He volunteers to go and get him. So he goes out with his Bren gun platoon and a Crusader tank, which is one of the medium-sized tanks of the time.
He's quite heavily armoured.
He's quite heavily armoured. So, but they make their way out there and they find the officer, but it could be perceived that this was some kind of trap to draw them in. So there's artillery fire, lots of artillery fire, and lots of machine gun fire. Probably from MG 440s at that time, which is the heavy machine gun of the Germans. So they find him, they load him onto the back of the Crusader tank while defending themselves, and then my grandfather lays his body over the top of the senior officer, and they make their escape. Nobody wounded, nobody killed, and
successful mission.
And a successful mission.
Very much.
And for those two things, and for his general behaviour while he's out there, he's awarded the Military Cross.
Wow, so he got the Military Cross?
He got the Military Cross,
wow.
Of which it is in the National Army Museum at
wow.
the moment.
So you must be very proud of
very proud
to be
of that.
associated with you.
Yeah, one of the oldest regiments in the British Army, and my granddad was part of their history, and it's just such a lovely thing. And he was a local boy from Chelmsford.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
That's
it's
all right.
An interesting story.
No, you're very welcome.
Thank you. Right, so spotted these fine ladies in period costumes. So what can you tell me about your era and what you're dressed in, the sort of style?
Well, this is probably, it's 40s verging on to 50s. It's a company called Rockin' Romance, so definitely check them out, they're amazing. They were very kind and gifted us these, so, but yeah, they're nice and cool for today, mostly.
And you look absolutely stunning.
Thank you!
And especially your hairstyles, which are obviously period. And
yes,
how did you get these sort of...
We've been doing our hair, we've been doing hair for about 10 years now, so it's taken a while.
But trial and effort, a lot of hairspray and a lot of hope.
Yes,
especially in weather like this.
You could get a nice victory roll in there, I reckon.
I think so.
It's a bit silver.
Backcombing.
It's a bit silver fox, but...
Backcombing and lots of hairspray is key.
Yes.
As much as possible.
Put it back on there.
Yeah.
So do you go to a lot of these events?
We do, yeah, we're performers.
They don't, they're rubbish.
Okay, so when you say performance, dancing or singing?
Singers, yeah, so we are performing here today.
Oh, wow.
So we're lucky enough that we get to do this all across the country, events up and down.
Oh, so you're really quite famous and I don't even know. I feel really embarrassed.
We won't go that
far. Don't be silly. But it's a thrill to be here because this is local to us. And it's
I'm
not
about
often.
4 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you're Essex girls?
I'm the true Essex.
Well done.
I
She's the
dragged
original
these
Essex
ones
girl.
in.
I'm Norfolk. And I'm a Londoner.
We won't hold that against you.
Yeah, someone's got to be, haven't they?
And you've got the best weather.
Yes.
We can't believe it. It's absolutely. I've just got back from Spain, so I actually told the girls they're lucky I brought it with me.
Yeah. Of course. It's all down to you.
Yeah, took it on the plane and brought it over. So.
Well, thank you very much and good luck with your songs.
What was your name, sorry?
That's Paul.
Nice to meet you,
Paul.
Paul.
And
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. Oh.
That's what you were saying, you can't predict this weather. That's why they call it May. It may snow, it may rain, it may hail.
You still won't win Eurovision.
Milk one. We do better than the German one did.
Auf der Heide blühten kleine Blümelein und das Heid.
We need something
Und das Heid. Erika. Schon bei Morgengraus auf die Bänke scheint.
6 days they took us.
Shan't it's an.
Yeah.
Well, it's very good. Slice the life. Slice the life. found it.
You never found
So with this gentleman who's actually served in the military in the Royal Medical Corps, is that right?
Royal Army Medical Corps.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. That's right. Yeah, I was in a total of 7 years, and I started off at after training and went to the Royal Army Medical College in Millbank, and I learnt all about pathology there. Then I was sent to Royal Herbert Hospital Woolwich, and in 1956 came the Suez Crisis, and they was going to drop us in by parachute to form number 4 field ambulance. So I didn't fancy that. I had parachute with a load of Egyptians shooting at you from down below. Then they Americans got and told off the French and the British. We got into trouble for doing it. So they found that I was down for Germany. So I didn't get sent. And the ones who got ready had to hand back their tropical kit and repaint their ambulances green from sand colour. And I got shipped off to Germany, and I got to Berlin. Oh, it was in ruins still, and in the Russian sector still ruins. The red flag above the Brandenburg Gate.
Wow.
The Reichstag in ruins, all bullet holes everywhere.
Did you get any pictures of it?
Oh yeah, I got pictures of it. Yes.
Wow. So I see you've got a camera.
Yes. This is eine schöne deutsche Kameraapparat von Deutschland. Das ist ein Rollicode von Frankreich nach Heidecke.
Wow.
Mit die Optik ist eine Schneider-Sena-Optik. Fabrik in Deutschland. Ja, sehr schön Apparat. Sehr schön.
So das ist Qualität.
Ja, ja. Ja, vielen Dank. Ja, I think.
So how did you find this event today?
Oh, very interesting, because I like the warm weather too. Because
yes, absolutely.
With all my illnesses, I can't breathe with the cold air. It makes me breathless now. I suffer a lot with breathing problems if it's cold air.
Oh, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, I'm all right.
So from now on, for the rest of the summer, hopefully you'll have a lovely
be able to
experience
breathe,
of breathing.
That's right, and take some nice pictures.
So thank you. A bit further events like this.
Yes.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah, thank you very
Enjoy
much.
the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.
So now we are with the motorised infantry from Second World War, and he's going to explain a little bit about what their unit would do.
Okay, so I'm trained Schuetzen Regiment 104 of the North Africa campaign, 1942.
So it's under Rommel, is it?
That is under Rommel, yes.
Field Marshal Rommel.
Yep, so Schuetzen Regiment 104 started off as an infantry regiment. And during 1939, they didn't actually serve in Poland. They were posted on the Western Front, so protecting the border with France and Germany if any invasion took place. They took part in the Battle of France, which is when they were renamed into a Schuetzen Regiment 104, sort of upgraded to the motorised infantry status. And then once the Germans went into North Africa, the 1st Battalion, they went over to North Africa first, and they arrived in North Africa in April of 1941. And they took part in the siege of Tobruk, which didn't go too well for the Germans. Couldn't capture it, and it became quite of a symbol of resilience for the.
Slow to react to that.
Yeah, you distracted me. Yeah. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. So myself, I'm training the 2nd Battalion of the Schuetzen Regiment 104, and we arrived early 1942 in North Africa, and then we took part in all of the fighting. We took part in actually capturing Tobruk. We finally were able to take it in 1942, and now we're marching towards this little railway station called El Alamein.
El Alamein, yeah,
Yeah.
First World War.
Yeah, so we should be able to bypass that quite easily. I mean, the Allies, they put a little bit of a defence force up, but we should be able to smash that through, and we'll be in Alexandria before we know
So
it.
you reckon you could do it?
Oh yeah, we've got to be positive.
Confident, yeah.
So now with hindsight, of course, we know that didn't happen. You know, that's as far as the
But at the
Germans.
time you believed it was possible.
Yeah,
of course.
That's it. Yeah. So that's as far as the Germans got as El Alamein.
So what got you into this period? Why are you interested in the German side, first of all?
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it? You know, and it's important to be able to tell both sides of the story. You know, there's always two sides to the story, and it's great, you know, having all the Allied reenactors, the Americans, the British, all the other Allied forces that took part. But if you don't show the other side of it and keep the
It's
other side
one-sided,
of it alive,
isn't it? Yeah.
that's it, and it's important to keep what happened alive, you know, because hopefully if we keep it alive, we won't repeat it.
We won't repeat it.
But
Couldn't agree more.
we seem to be failing at that currently.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time. It's
No
very
problem.
interesting talking to you.
Cheers, no problem.
Someone put in the group chat last night, the right chat room. Someone said, oh, yeah, they're not going to care if you weren't there. They're probably going to be like, oh, okay, you're here now. You're here now.
Much simpler back then, weren't they? Unlike these days, there's all fairies and all sorts going on. Keep it simple. You can fix this yourself, you know.
Yeah, you have to.
Oh, sorry, sorry. Guard duty.
Yep, I'm just covering anyone coming around the corner of that wall.
Can I ask you how long you've been here?
About 45 minutes.
Oh, it's your duty, is it? Like your stag?
Yeah, we're swapping over every sort of hour to sort of cover the front of the camp, but also to get a little bit of shade in the position.
So you're representing the Russians, I guess, are you?
Yep, Soviet Second World War.
Sorry, Soviets. So what's this weapon you've got here?
This is the DP-27.
Very advanced for its day.
Yep, sprung-loaded disc magazine fed in from the top, cocked from just underneath. The idea is it's a light machine gun that can lay down covering fire.
And would the Soviets have smoked pipe tobacco?
If they could get hold of it, it's a German pipe that would have been picked up and liberated along the way. But any scraps of tobacco could be used in the pipe. So hand-rolled cigarettes were generally what they get hold of.
Same as today. So the drinks are like, what is that, a sort of squash, is it?
Sort of a dandelion and burdock, or the Soviet equivalent, which is a bread-based beverage.
And even the ashtray is
The ashtray
authentic,
is
yeah?
authentic and original.
Wow.
It was dug up along with a mug from the river just by Stalingrad, before Stalingrad.
What? May I have a look? Is that alright if I pick it up?
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's got the manufacturer's mark on the back if you turn it upside down. So I've got my tobacco pouch and various smoking accessories. I've got a couple of drinks with me because it's quite warm in the position, and I'm also keeping my gas mask bag just handy as well.
Thank you very much. Very
That's okay.
interesting.
Have rainbows day after day. Here's what my sweetheart said. We see ya. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Big finish. Que sera, sera. Nice stuff. Lads up there, we saw you all swaying. Very nice job. What are we feeling next, Charlie Chops? Then you really gotta jump, jiving. Then you really gotta jump, jiving. Then you wail away. Oh, yeah. Bob's in the icebox looking for a caravan. Oh, Bob's in the icebox looking for a caravan. Bob's in the backyard learning how to drive a rail. Oh, you gotta jump jiving, then you really 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 gotta jump jiving, then you wail away. A woman. We've gone for the 11-minute version. Keep dancing. Ah, yeah. While you listen to light your light, smile, boys, that's the start. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So, hang up your troubles in your own kit bag and smile, smile, smile. We're gonna jump onto that plane now. is fun. Easy, do as you darn well pleasy. Why don't you make your way there? Go there, stay there. Anytime you're Lambeth Way, any evening, any day, you'll find us all. Here we go, doing the Lambeth walk. Oi!
Lovely. We want to see your rabbits for this one. Here we go.
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Bang, 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 bang goes the farmer's gun. So run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, 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 run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Don't give the farmer his fun, fun, fun. He'll get by without his rabbit pie. So run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. There's a busy street. Wherever there's a turning wheel, a million marching feet. Red, white and blue, what does it mean? Surely you're proud, shout it out loud, Britain's away. The Empire too, we can depend on you. Freedom remains, these are the chains, nothing can break. Let's hear. There'll always be an England, and England shall be free. If England means as much to you as England means to me. I'm afraid we must wave you goodbye. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Cheerio, here I go on my way. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Not a tear, but a cheer, make it gay. Let's hear. Give me a smile I can keep all the while in my heart while I'm away. Let's see you waving till we meet once again, you and I. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
We hope you've had a fabulous day. Thank you so much for having us. We've been the Nightingales. You've got your amazing A to Jive dancers in front of you. Enjoy the rest of the sun, and hopefully we'll see you next year. Goodbye. Last time, we want to hear you. Here we go.
Give me a smile I can keep all the while in my heart while I'm away. Till we meet once again, you and I. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
Thank you very much. We're the Nightingales with a K. We'll see you again soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Nightingales.
You are? Just the one. Super. Splendid. Thank you.
Sorry to buzz you. Are you on your way out?
We're just going to
Probably going to get stopped at that gate because they're waiting for a bit of a traffic system to go on.
Oh, okay.
Alright, just a bit of pain in the arse.
Right, we're now with the WACs, the WAC, which this lady's going to tell us all about. So, would you mind telling the viewers what a WAC is? Apart from getting
yeah, one over the head.
Yeah, one over the head.
We was sort of like behind the lines. We would we'd have some like nurses and the stores and just generally help out because the men weren't available to do things.
So you're the American support, but you're the females
Yeah.
they're utilising in the war, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And
As
you're-
where we could and when we could.
Okay. Where did they serve? Was it in Normandy or? Do you know?
No.
I don't know.
No,
I've got
I
no
don't know neither.
Okay, fair enough. No, fair enough. No worries. So basically, you're sitting here guarding at the moment the what? Water?
Well, we have water, we have fuel, we have ammunition.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're basically like stores, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, it's stores. This phone here would be attached to that wire down there,
Yeah.
and that would go to the front line. So if they wanted ammunition or bullets or whatever taken, we could send it.
Okay.
So that sort of thing.
Okay.
We had all the food when they dropped the food in the crates.
Yep.
They would be in a crate similar to that. We've like modified it for our use. Yeah.
So I mean, you've obviously enjoyed this fantastic English weather.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful. Oh,
Did
man.
you have a bit of a party last night?
Oh, we certainly did.
So you haven't got a hangover today?
No, 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 no. We had our dinner out al fresco.
Oh, lovely.
And a few ciders and a few beers.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like a very good social gathering.
It is a very good social gathering.
So you're always looking for volunteers if
Yes.
people want to get in contact with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have a website. Don't ask me, ask.
Okay, I'll ask. All right, thanks for your time anyway.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a monster, isn't it? That's an interesting thing to drive.
I would have slept with the doors and the windows open just for that.
So what is he saying? It was made for a film?
Made for a film, about to come out on Netflix. I'd be lying if I told you the movie name.
All right, don't do it. This is non-standard.
No, definitely not.
I don't know what it is, but it looks big. Some sort of straight six.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, go back so you can get it all in. Who wrote that?
No.
switch off. So we looped it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that and thank you very much.